What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Thank you so much for joining me. Welcome to another video, and you are here with me getting ready to get on for workout number 4 of the Zwift Academy Workout Series. Yes, number 4 after this workout that is halfway through the 8 workout series for the Zwift Academy graduation, and we are here for Anaerobic Resilience. So this workout is building on the past 3 workouts that we have already done. This is a good example as to why we do these workouts in order, because we have built some of the fundamentals, the knowledge, the baseline, and the capacity from the prior 3 workouts that are going to work well into this workout. I'm going to go through like I have in the past and do the workout, and then I will come back and talk about the objectives, go through the intervals step by step and how they were in context, and talk about a few perhaps tips, tricks, recommendations that I have having gone through the workout that might be effective for you guys. But without any further ado, let me get the workout done so I can tell you guys all about it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is workout number 4 checked off the list. We are now officially halfway through the workout portion of Zwift Academy Road 2020 here on this channel. Hopefully you're following along with me and you're making it through and we can share in this pain together. But if you are new to Zwift Academy or new to Zwift in general and you're curious as to what the hell I'm talking about and what this academy is, I recommend you check out this video up here. That is the getting started video. I go through workout number 1 as well as spend several minutes in the beginning of the video talking about how the academy is structured, how you can graduate, and what some of the unlocks are, some of the basics to get you all caught up. I also have videos on workout number 2 and 3. If you haven't caught those, you could check those out as well. Gives you a sneak peek into those workouts if you have not already done them. But let's get right into this one. We are going to talk about workout number 4, which is anaerobic resilience. And as the name might indicate, we are talking about building our resilience to anaerobic level efforts. I know, very original nomenclature coming from the Zwift team, but it does the job, right? So we're talking about repeatability. This particular workout is intended to work on your ability to burn matches, your high level power, your short, punchy, VO2 max level power, very similar to what you might use in something like a crit. Whether you're doing crits on Zwift or you're doing crits out on the real road, these are usually short races, 30, 45 minutes, an hour, maybe 90 minutes if you're at the elite level of the field, but you are always kind of having to draw on that high level power to catch a break, to catch an attack, to keep on the wheel. So you are constantly being called upon to do 20 seconds, 30 seconds, 45 seconds, a minute, maybe 90 seconds of a very high intensity effort so you can settle back in. This is a very similar construct to something like that. The difference being is you have far lower recovery valleys. The reason that we recover at a lower rate in training than we do in a race is because we want to maximize on those working sets. We could recover at a higher level, but that's going to impact our ability to reach peak level power. So we don't train exactly how we race, but this type of workout is intended to maximize on those capacitive efforts that we might see in something like a crit or similar type of race structure. You're also going to get a chance to test your 1-minute power in this workout. You have an open, it's really your primary working set where you're just going to lay it all out there in terms of 1 minute of all-out power. Now, if you're doing these workouts in order, which I've mentioned before, you probably should be, you may have a good idea in your head if you haven't already tested your 1-minute power where you could potentially land. In workout number 1, we went through our threshold level efforts, so we know whereabouts our threshold is. If you haven't done an FTP test, or if you have done an FTP test, you should have validated that number within that construct of that workout and the repeatability of those particular efforts. Workout number 2, we worked on sprints. So your high level 10 seconds, 20-second power seated efforts. The 60-second 1-minute test should also be a seated effort. So you're gonna get kind of an idea of where you're definitely not going to hit your very, very high end of that 20-second power. It's gonna start to kind of close close that window where that number might land. Then we did workout number 3 where we did a 4-minute effort and we did 2-minute efforts. It's going to start continuing to close that window as to where that power range might be. Now, even in the workout itself, it's going to tell you there's really no target power to reach because everybody's VO2 max levels, your 1-minute power, your 2-minute power, your 5-minute power, that's going to vary by rider. 2 riders with the identical FTP could have completely different 1-minute power values. It's just going to depend on your profile as a rider. Sprinters, larger riders with higher raw wattages, with higher repeatability for high-level efforts are probably going to have a much higher 1-minute power than somebody like a climber who might not have as high of a 1-minute power, even relative to their FTP. So don't go in with any expectations that I should be doing 200%, 150%, X number of watts per kilogram. It's really going to depend on your profile as a rider, and this is a workout where you can work on that. If you want to improve on that number or need to improve on that 1-minute power, this is the workout where you get that baseline and you can continue to come back and work that repeatability. Now I'm going to go through the intervals yet again, like a creep, reading them off my phone because I don't want to get them wrong and I don't have them memorized because that would be silly, and we will talk about kind of how this is structured. So to begin with, as we generally do, we start at the beginning, we go with our 9-minute standard Zwift warm-up. It's an ascending warm-up. It starts you at around 45% of your FTP and builds you all the way up to about 90% of your FTP. Then you settle back in for 2 minutes at that 55% of FTP. That 55% seems to be the sweet spot for Zwift for kind of a recovery or baseline effort. It likes just that standard zone 2 spin at about 55%. So that's a common number you're going to find, and we'll come back to it again and again in the workouts. After that 2 minutes at 55%, you're going to do your priming sets. So your first 2 sets of primers are going to be a 2 by 30 seconds at 95% of your FTP, and then you're going to dip back down into 2 minutes at 55%, and then the second one, which is the 30 seconds at 95% of FTP, and then 2 minutes at 55%. Then you're going to go into an ascending. Your final primer is going to be 60 total seconds, comprised of 20 seconds at your FTP, 20 seconds at 110% of your FTP, and 20 seconds at 120% of your FTP. So it's going to be a 60-second build up to 120% of your FTP. Should be very much achievable, really shouldn't be burning anything up, but you're going to start waking up those fast twitch muscle fibers. It's getting them prepared to do that work. Again, kind of like workout number 3, the legs might still be feeling a little bit stubborn here. That's why you're waking them up and rattling out those cobwebs. Then you're going to go to 4 minutes of your baseline at the 55% of FTP, and we're about to get into our main set. So you're going to hit 30 seconds at 30% of FTP. I hate these, by the way. 30% sucks, especially if you're a smaller rider and your 30% is sub 100 watts and you don't have a whole lot of raw wattage. It's awful, especially with a higher spin rate. So I recommend as you hit these 30% of FTP sets, slow your cadence down, and especially if you're using erg mode, let it grab, slow down. I mean, you don't have to go at 30%, you can go a little bit higher, but the idea is to kind of spin up or do these wind-ups into this high-level power. So that's why they have you at such a low power profile there. So after that 30 seconds, you're gonna go into your 1 minute basically testing. Erg is gonna shut off and you're gonna go into free ride. It's going to tell you right on the screen. Don't have any presupposition of what your power is going to be. Just give it everything you got that you know that you can hold. You're not going to obviously all out sprint, but really just wind it up and give it everything you got and try to hang on. Your power is probably going to start to drop off. You're probably going to overshoot it at first unless you already have a baseline number. But even if you do have a baseline number, don't try to hit that number. Try to overshoot that number. Try to see what you're capable of in this workout. Use this as a test. So after that 1 minute, erg is going to turn back on. If you choose to use erg mode, you're going to go into 30 seconds at 30% of that FTP again. At this point, that 30% feels pretty good because if you've done that 60 seconds correctly, you're going to want to stop. So it's going to allow the tension to come out of the legs so you can keep the legs moving and you don't come to a dead stop. And even if you have to spin slowly, you can start to wind up those legs over the 30 seconds. Then you go into another 30 seconds at 45%, which is still pretty low. And then you settle into 5.5 minutes of your recovery at that baseline 55%. Now we're going to work into some intervals where you're going to start at a high power at a short interval, move to a lower power at a longer interval, and then move at your even lower power at an even longer interval. So these are going to be 3 more very high level capacitive efforts. You only have 3 more to go, and really the worst is already done with, but here we are burning matches and trying to work that repeatability. We're not going for all out on these, we're just looking to enhance our repeatability and our ability to push that high level power even after we've drained a lot of energy out of that high anaerobic system. So after your 5.5 minutes of that recovery, you're going to go into that 30 seconds at 30% again. Keep that cadence down and get ready to wind up. And this time you're going to have 30 seconds at 170% of FTP. This is going to be a tough one, and this should be higher than your 1 minute. If it's not, you have a very high 1 minute power. But this is probably, for most of us, is going to be higher than that 1 minute power. So this is really going to burn up the legs. It's only 30 seconds, but it's going to be a tough effort. After that, again, you're going to dump at 30% of FTP for 30 seconds. It's going to allow you to basically just kind of almost stop the legs and then get back on top of the gear right away so that you're not trying to overcome a ton of resistance. You're going to build a 30 seconds at 45% of FTP. And again, your rest is going to be a 5.5 minute block at that 55% of FTP. Now we're going to move into the second repeatable effort. We're going to drop down to 30 seconds at 30% as we have in the prior efforts. And now this effort is going to be 45 seconds at 150% of FTP. This might be, for some folks, around where your 1 minute power was. It was a little bit lower than where my 1 minute power was. I think I landed somewhere between 155 and 160%. It's not terribly high, but it's not super low either, based on my raw wattage and my watts per kilo. Depending on where you tested, these efforts may be different in relation to you, but this might be a good place to look if you're going to kind of cheat the interval a little bit in the beginning and look ahead, and you can take a look and see, okay, what does Zwift think my 45-second power is going to be? That might be somewhere where I want to target that minute if you really are nervous about flying blind. So that 45 seconds at 150%, dump at the 30% for 30 seconds, another 30 seconds at 45%, and then back into 5.5 minutes of that recovery at 55%. Here comes the last high intensity effort. You're going to start at that 30 seconds at 30% of FTP, and this is your longest effort since the beginning of the workout, and this is going to be 1 minute, and this effort is going to be at 130% of your FTP. It doesn't seem that difficult in comparison to what you've already done. However, you've already started to burn those matches. This effort is going to feel difficult. This 1 minute may feel more difficult than that 1 minute test that you did at a higher level effort, because if you've done these intervals correctly, you've probably drained a lot out of your system. So if your FTP is set correctly and you're not a super high profile punchy type of rider, this is going to be a little bit more difficult. If you are a sprinter or a punchy rider, you may tick these off like nothing, turn erg off, and just shoot for higher in that case. But I think for most of us with a pretty medium level profile, this is probably going to be pretty much the case for all of us. After that, again, dumping out at that 30 seconds at 30% of FTP, 30 seconds at 45% of FTP, and then you're going to move into a straight 6 minutes at that 55% of FTP recovery. Now, the last working set is going to be the money shot. This is going to be potentially the most difficult interval, even though it's not the highest power interval. This is going to be 6 minutes at between 85 and 90% of FTP. So basically high tempo, low sweet spot. But at this point, you've drained all of those matches and you've really started to tax even into your aerobic capacity. So your ability to hold this power is going to feel much harder than just getting on the bike fresh and holding this power. You know, your zone 3, your tempo, your sweet spot, that's supposed to be your goal all day. Challenging, but not draining type of effort. In this case, it may be difficult. You may have a hard time getting to the end, especially if you've done this entire workout correctly. But it should be doable. This is your opportunity to continue to work that aerobic capacity, and then you get a nice 5-minute cool down, starting at about 65% of FTP and going down to 45% of your FTP. This is a 1-hour workout. It is a difficult one. It can be as difficult or as easy as you kind of make it, depending on your 1-minute test and depending on your profile as a rider. So some recommendations for the workout: you probably want to go into the workout relatively fresh. You're doing a 1-minute test. You want to get a good baseline. You want to get a good number. Maybe you're going to shoot for that PR. It's probably not a bad idea, especially if you're working on this whole training protocol, and especially if you're going for that pro card, by the way. Give it all you got. Try to come in fresh, come in fueled, carbed up, if you will. Also, in terms of nutrition, you may want to hit that gel again. In my workout, I hit 2 gels. I tried to do something a little bit different than workout number 3, and I took 1 gel during the warm-up, and I took 1 gel at the 30-second mark to see if I can kind of maximize that sugar burn I was getting for these high-level efforts. You're really only doing about 10 minutes of hard work in this workout. So there's not a whole lot of work involved, but the demands and how quickly you're going to get that heart rate up, how quickly you're going to start using those muscles and burn through those sugar stores. You're going to need some sugar on board for this, so you could use something like a gel, some blocks. You don't need a ton. It's not like you need a ton of calories, but just that quick burning sugar is probably going to be very effective for you. In terms of erg mode, we talk about this a lot. You could turn erg completely off. If you have a hard time regulating power, especially at those high levels, which some folks do, we don't have a very good idea of what our power might feel like at these high wattages, and you really feel more comfortable leaving erg on so that you can settle in faster. Wind up for the first 5 seconds before you get under that arch, and that will help. Get on top of the desired cadence, start pushing the power before erg has the chance to adjust you back down, and then you'll build up. It usually only takes 3 or 4 seconds into the interval, and then make sure that you're carrying that power in through the arch on the back end of the intervals so that you're not shortchanging yourself on the working set. So you might hit that power 3 seconds later, but you're also extending it 3 seconds past the arch on the way back down. You might not hit all your stars perfectly. If you see the stars along the side of the workouts, that's really not the important part. The important part is the profile and the work that you're actually getting done. We'll talk about cadence real quick again. I talked about it quite a bit in the last workout, getting that cadence up. In this particular workout, they do a lot of dictation of what the cadence should be. They're looking to get you up above 100 cadence for most of these working sets. This is a good workout to work that high cadence. I know some of you probably struggle with really getting that cadence up, but it really does help your repeatability quite a bit. It's important for this workout. If you start that 1-minute effort slogging it out at 75 RPM, 80 RPM, I have a feeling you are going to struggle. You are going to have a hard time, especially as those next 3 high-level sets start to wear down on those those fast twitch muscle fibers. So a word to the wise, try to work on that high level cadence. It really will help you out quite a bit. It's probably going to be uncomfortable for many of you, but if you keep circling back to this workout and workout number 3 and continue to work those high cadences, you should be able to flip on and off. You should be able to go from 80 to 120 back to 80 just as easy as you snap your fingers. It's okay if you can't do that right now. This is a good workout with the dictation and with the guidance to be able to work on that. And the last thing I'll speak to is doing these efforts seated. I'm not sure if it's called out in the on-screen instructions. I should have paid attention to that, and I really didn't. I didn't read most of the instructions, unfortunately. That's my bad. But I would recommend doing them all seated for a couple of reasons. First of all, getting up out of the saddle and stomping on the pedals, you get these kind of artificial power strikes sometimes as the power pedals, if you're using them, or even the cranks, try to adjust to that effort. You'll get these weird spikes in power that aren't actual power. Plus, you're using your body weight to produce the power, and it's not giving you as much benefit. Working your legs, sure, it's important when you're out on the road. Power is power, right? But you want to be able to practice those seated efforts so you're generating that power from those hips, from your legs, and it's super sneaky if you are racing in person. To be able to really get on that power and do so seated, you can sneak off in a break without anybody noticing. If you don't have to dump a bunch of gears and you can just wind up those legs and pick up power seated with that stiff upper body, you can just ride away from the field if you've got that type of power. I've seen it done before. It's crazy to watch somebody just ride off the front of you without changing much but their cadence. It's a good time to work on that in this workout. It can be super effective on the road if you're looking to race. But that's really all I've got for you guys. That's my recap of workout number 4. Again, I enjoyed the workout. I kind of enjoy pushing myself as I get back into some VO2 max, starting to test where I am. I know where I am now, and I'm not as bad as I thought I was. I have less of a reason to be afraid than I thought to begin with, and I'm just going to keep pushing it forward. I'm hoping to get through the next few workouts in the next couple of weeks and then circle back to these workouts. As an aside, these workouts do stay in Zwift in perpetuity, so if you like these workouts, and I think that they're pretty well constructed, and you don't have a plan and you want to come back to Zwift and use them, even a year from now, they're still going to be there for you. So I think that's a great feature that they leave them in there all the way back from the original Zwift Academy. So if you like particular workouts, you can kind of keep them in the back of your head and come back to them. I think this is a good workout for people to work on or build into their routine. But if you like this video, please go ahead and hit that thumbs up button. It really does help the channel, helps other people find the video. This might be helpful for others. If you haven't already subscribed and you don't think I'm too crazy, you can go ahead and hit that subscribe button. You can hit the bell if you like your phone to tell you things all the time, notifications and all that jazz. But thank you guys so much for watching and making it all the way to the end of the video, and I will catch you for workout number 5 in the next one. See ya.